Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. We are out in the nature once again and we have a sunny day. It's getting a bit warmer here in Slovenia. It's a beautiful time of the year. And I want to talk about the phase of transition. Because I've noticed for myself, right now I'm moving through this kind of a phase where it feels like my whole life is transforming into something new, something unfamiliar. And usually when I feel like that, I notice that actually many people are feeling like that. Many people are moving through this kind of a phase of a transition. Maybe you have a sun behind me, but it's okay. So, what I mean by that? Well, I've started to feel like at the beginning, it was few weeks ago, I've started to feel like a certain new understanding is arising within me. Like I've started to understand myself much better than any time before. And with that I want to say that I've started to recognize that certain things of how I'm expressing myself and what I'm doing in my life are not resonating with me anymore. And it happened to me before, so I know what it means, what this phase means. But I want to share this with you because you may feel that as well, and I want to explain what I do every time I get myself or I move myself or am I moving through this kind of a phase, how I cope with that. Oh, this is much better, right? This is much better. Now I can feel the warmth feeling. So this transformative phase, oh, look at the mountains. We have a really beautiful view here. This is actually the place where we used to live, me and Maya. And here and there we come here to visit it again, to say thanks to this place because that's where we started. So the transitioning phase or the phase of transformation, it means that you're just becoming more of yourself. You're becoming more of yourself, which means that slowly you're like peeling off a certain layer of your identity that is not resonating with you anymore. And it's called, in other words, an evolution of the character. Because character should be nothing else but an expression of the soul. But because since we've been born, nobody was teaching us how to be truly, authentically ourselves, we've started pretending to be like everybody else, because if we would be ourselves, we would be pushed away. We would be like black sheep. And as little kids, we didn't want to be pushed away. So we've started adapting, we've started pretending, we've started developing certain patterns that would kinda allowed us to be accepted. For some people it's stronger, for other people not so much, but eventually as we're moving through life we recognize that some of those patterns are becoming more familiar to us. What it means, we recognize more of our unconscious behaviors, which means that for example, at some point in your past you've accepted a certain job because you just wanted to feel secure. You wanted to have a certain, you needed a certain amount of money to survive, so you accepted whatever it was. But eventually you've noticed that what this job gives you is only a certain limited sense of security, but nothing else. And at some point you notice, well, What if my life is more than just feeling this security? And that's where you unconsciously start questioning your life. Like, what if I could become more than I am right now? And usually it happens because of universal cycles and astrological cycles that initiates a transformation in many individuals. And I feel that this is happening right now for many of us. And we see also on the world many interesting events are happening, and I'm sending prayers for everyone, all the victims of the earthquake that happened and everything that's going on in the world. You know, those are like representations of changes. Between one coherent phase and another, there's chaos. And I recognize every time I move through that kind of a phase of change, I move through like a chaotic phase. I'm moving through a chaotic phase where I can't fully identify what's happening, but I can notice what's not resonating with me anymore. So I've started to notice that I want to change the style of my videos a little bit, and I've started changing it already, but I feel like something is kind of growing out of the seed within me, and I need to just allow it to happen. I need to just accept the change that is happening, and I need to embrace what's going on. And for that, I feel like a part of me wants to rush the process, but the other part of me is saying, stay patient, don't rush anything, because you will destroy what's happening. And in case you feel in your life that there's something awakening within you, but it can't fully rise through the layers of or pillars of your identity, because you're not releasing the old version of yourself. If you feel like there's something awakening within you, like you want to start something new in your life, or you want to change something in your life, and you need to know that the season of nature is right now starting the process of change. It actually already started some time ago, and you can see the snow is melting down. You know what it means? Something that was stuck is slowly melting down. I mean, in our lives, it's like a symbol. It's not really stuck. It was just resting. Something that was resting within you is slowly becoming more understandable to you. So for some people, it's like a sleeping lion within them. You may feel like there's power within you to make huge transformations in your life. But if you're ignoring that, you will feel tension inside of your body. You may feel tension right here, like something wants to come out, but you're not allowing it to happen because you're too busy with your life. It's okay to be busy with your life, but don't be busy being busy, right? You also need to take time and recognize what your body is telling to you. You see, your body is like a book, and sometimes we need to open it, not literally, but we need to read what's happening, right? You're a walking story, and all stories are meaningful if we understand them, right? So can you understand the meaning of your story, the meaning of your life, the meaning of your present state? Because if you don't understand the meaning of your life, how can you find any meaning anywhere else? Because you are life. And if you can't see the meaning in your life, you will not find meaning in anywhere else, in anything else. And if we live a life without meaning, you know how it looks like, how it feels like. We're like that. Oh, everything is boring. Oh, I don't care. Right? It's not a beautiful life to live. And because we are creative creatures, which means we are creative by nature, the question is why most of us are not living creative lives. Because creative life is not just being an artist, just making art, right? Creative life is, or it means, that when you are faced with a challenge, the challenge brings you a choice, right? The challenge always brings you a choice to make things different than you did them before. And that's where challenge becomes a chance to change. Challenge becomes a chance to change, right? And that's where you become the change. You firstly apply certain changes that become a bit louder inside of your heart. Like your heart will say to you, hey man, you need to change something. Or maybe it will say, hey woman, you need to change something. And you may suppress that voice. And some people do. And it's okay. Sometimes we just don't know what to do with inspiration, right? Sometimes inspiration is so intense that we just don't know how to channel it, so we suppress it. And if we suppress inspiration, we say to our heart, hey, sorry, but I don't need you. So try to say to your mother, hey, sorry, but I don't need you. You know what happens. It's not good, right? You've come from your mother, right? You're coming from your heart. Heart is the source of life. And life is awareness, right? So when you say to your awareness, sorry, I don't need you, you become unconscious. If you don't need consciousness, you become unconscious. You become an animal, right? And the transformational phase that I'm moving through right now is that I'm just becoming more familiar of how can I express more of myself. How can I do things even more from myself, from my soul, and less for certain external purposes. And that is such a huge realization because we've been deeply trained to do things only for certain specific outcomes. And then the purpose of a spiritual evolution is that you notice that you're already the outcome. If you're alive, you're already the outcome, which means that the effects you wish to see on the world can only be produced by you, nobody else. Which means if you want to produce certain effects, you need to become the cause of them. And that is such a powerful realization. Once you recognize that you need to become the cause of the effects that you wish to see, you ask yourself, what can I do today to cause those effects, right? And of course, every time we start questioning that, we come to the realization of what is not allowing us to be that kind of a cause, right? And that's what's happening to many of us right now. We are realizing how much we are feeding what's unnecessary, what's not helping us, what's unsustainable. Once we stop feeding the unnecessary, we start appreciating the necessary. And you need to find out for yourself what's necessary for your life to be the greatest possible expression of love. Because that's all there is. And once you recognize that, everything will make sense. But you also need to know that, and I'm telling this to myself right now, you also need to know that transformation takes time. and you need to be patient, and you need to recognize that every step you make can be a bit different than the previous step. And every tiny little change you make in your steps is already shifting your timeline. So it doesn't matter if you only change one thought in a day, eventually it may produce one little new effect, which is usually shown as a synchronicity, right? And it basically means that you are transforming, if you know it or not. You're in a phase of a transformation. And again, I'm saying that to myself as well right now. Because, sometimes I notice that the message that I'm giving to you is the message that I need to hear. And then I start laughing to myself because I say, well, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And it becomes funny because how can I talk about something that I'm actually working on? But then I notice, well, you need to firstly intellectually understand something so you can embody it in your life, right? So sometimes people think that many great teachers on the world are really, really wise. But actually they became wise because they were failing over and over again. And it reminds us that we need to fail over and over again. Fail in understanding, fail in acting, fail in changing, fail in trying new things. More you fail, more you grow. And that's it. So my friends, a message for you, but also for me. I appreciate you all. I love you all, my friends. If you're moving through this kind of a transformation, be patient with yourself. And appreciate yourself for the bravery, because it's much easier to ignore and suppress. But then it's not really nice to deal with the consequences. That's why you can't afford that anymore. That's why you've started waking up, because you've recognized you don't want to deal with consequences of ignoring yourself anymore. And that is a brave choice. Truly, that is a brave choice. And I'm sure that deep inside you're really grateful for your old self that decided to evolve into your present self, that is deciding to evolve into that future version of you that is wiser, greater, and brighter. So my friends, I will leave you here. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Stay beautiful, stay magnificent, stay creative. Till next time, one love.